Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of Second Order Effects. Today we're going to be talking about self-driving heavy commercial vehicles. Doesn't sound like the most exciting topic, but actually it is. There's a lot going on in this space. So first off, let's do a bit of background and history on where we are with commercial trucks today. So commercial trucks in the US alone employ about 2 million people in heavy trucks directly as either drivers or owners or owner-drivers. It's a business worth about $1 trillion a year, so it's a huge part of the economy. Being a truck driver is the single most common job in every state in the union. And you're talking about a group of people here who aren't necessarily the highest educated group, although they do earn pretty good money. Knowing this, we should understand that moving from driven trucks to self-driving trucks is going to be a huge transition. Let's look at a few of the things that will change and how that helps and hinders different parts of society. Commercial trucks are rather unlikely to start on the road. They will start in places like mines or industrial sites or potentially building sites because they need to be off the road and not covered by typical commercial insurance, at least to prove the technology works. So another thing to consider here is that the commercial truck insurance industry is worth $100 billion a year alone in the US. Not anything like as much as the entire trucking industry, certainly, but still $100 billion worth of insurance that probably isn't going to be needed or may be needed at a significantly lower level or in a very different way will have its own ramifications. About 6,000 people a year are killed by heavy trucks in the US alone, and that's a lot of people, and one's going to assume that self-driving trucks are going to reduce that level very significantly because governments aren't going to allow self-driving trucks unless they're at least one and quite probably two orders of magnitude more safe than the existing solutions are. You can't just wipe it away and go, oh, we only killed 600 people this year on the roads. No, you're going to have to make it many lower. The second thing to be aware of is once trucks become self-driving, then you're not going to need to worry about the whole 8-12 hours of driving time before the driver gets a rest. So trucks will be able to drive 24 hours a day, which means that they're likely to be driven much more at night. Government or cities will have a lot more control over when they're actually on the roads, and you could probably take them off the roads during things like school pickup times or during rush hour, for example. So that's a very positive thing. Another very positive thing for society generally is that a typical commercial truck costs about $1.80 something a mile to drive, and about 80 cents of that, so about 45% of the total, is the cost of the driver. And therefore, if you can reduce that on $1 trillion revenue business, you're going to make the cost of transportation and therefore the cost of everything significantly lower than it is today. And that will be a big boon for every society that takes it on. For the market specifically, if you were to produce self-driving trucks, then your cost of materials will drop dramatically, and that will be a really major competitive advantage for the US. So it all sounds rosy so far. Why haven't we done it yet? The technology's getting there, and this show isn't about technology, it's about the effects of technology, but it seems pretty likely that commercial self-driving trucks specifically will be on the roads within 10 years. And the way the market works today is there's a few big players, UPS and FedEx being obvious examples of that. They're about $100 billion revenue organizations each, so about 20% of the total. But the market below that drops away very quickly, and there are about 600,000 owner-operators of commercial trucks today. It seems extremely likely that once self-driving trucks become available, then they will become economically completely compelling. The whole idea of a driven truck will become an anathema very quickly. They simply won't be able to compete. And the big companies will be able to get much bigger because they won't have the bottleneck they have today, which is a problem with finding drivers. I think you'll find every commercial truck has a sign on the back saying we're hiring drivers today. There's about 1 million vacancies for commercial truck drivers as we speak. And that's one of the reasons why owner-operators can still exist in this world. So owner-operators are going to go away, and that's going to be a problem for rural societies because many of those folks live in rural parts of the country and bring in good money. The other problem it will have is you're going to have 2 million people, the single most popular job in America, and they're all going to have to find something else to do. Now, the majority of these folks, about 2/3 of them, have got an education level of about high school diploma or below. So these people aren't all going to become app developers or baristas or whatever it is that people suddenly become after their job goes away. So I think as a society, we're going to need to look at what do we do with all these folks, maybe to retrain them to do something else. I don't have the answer to that. It's going to be complicated. The ultimate answer is self-driving trucks will become a boon for society because there'll be less of them on the road, or at least at a time when most people see them. The roads will be significantly safer because self-driving trucks by their nature have to be safer than human-driven trucks because otherwise they won't be on the road. And the cost will drop dramatically. Anything that's delivered by truck, which is pretty much everything at some level. On the downside, we've got 2 million people, many of whom are in their 30s to 50s. Average age of a commercial truck driver is about 45 today, who don't have a particularly high education level. We're going to need something new for them to do. It's not going to be an easy transition, but much of society will benefit and parts of it will be in trouble. And I suspect that's going to be a pattern we will see throughout all of the second order effects we look at. I hope you thought that was useful, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I think next time we're going to do homebrewed drugs, but let's see how we get on. Okay, everyone, thanks for your time. Bye-bye.